I love Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. From its stages to its music, the game is superb in every aspect, and it's truly a grand celebration of video games as a whole. But one aspect that people love the most is the character roster. People love to speculate on what characters will be added to the expansive roster, and then complain about those characters on Twitter when they weren't the characters that they wanted. Either way, it's still always fun to speculate on the likelihood of characters while still holding out hope for those lesser known picks that we secretly know don't have much of a chance. So with the recent announcement of Fighters Pass 2, I thought it would be fun to look at 6 potential Smash Bros. Newcomers while also throwing in 6 characters that I would personally like to see the most. Anyway, let's see who I piss off most with this video, starting with the characters I think are most likely.
Slayer.
So you know what's missing in this family-friendly game full of child-friendly characters like Mario and Kirby? Well, guns, death, and violence, of course. It's rather odd that we haven't seen any characters from a shooter game yet, considering their large popularity in the gaming market. It most likely has something to do with maintaining the age rating, but characters like Bayonetta and Snake prove that adding characters from more mature games isn't an impossibility, so long as they're toned down a little. With all that said, the most likely shooter characters to be added are probably Master Chief or Doomguy. Both have impactful history on the genre, are very popular picks, have a variety of tools that can be made into great movesets, and both have the potential of raising the age rating to the same rating as A Hat in Time on Nintendo Switch. Microsoft already worked with Nintendo to put Banjo into the game, and Master Chief would honestly require less toning down compared to Doomguy, who literally chainsaws demons in half like, yeah, I'd let this guy fight Pichu. The only reason I could see Master Chief not making it in would be if Microsoft wanted Steve from Minecraft as a rep instead. Either way, all 3 of these characters are likely and could easily fill a future DLC slot, but I'm personally leaning towards Master Chief the most.
Say fellas, did somebody mention the door to darkness?
Oh god. Yeah, despite what people may think of Kingdom Hearts, the popularity for Sora has definitely grown to the point where Sora might actually be a feasible pick for Smash. The issue with Sora getting in isn't moveset potential, but instead it's more so because of Sora's second rights owner, Mr. I own 35% of the film industry. I'm currently working on taking over online streaming, also known as Disney. The debate on Sora's rights owners is the primary reason as to why people believe he won't be included, stating that Disney would never allow him to be in the game. While I understand this argument, it's important to never say never, especially with Ultimate's roster, which has Banjo, Joker, and Cloud as playable characters, among other iconic fighters. Worst case scenario would probably just be a lack of Disney characters as spirits or in Sora's moveset. Besides, Disney characters have always been weirdly out of place in Kingdom Hearts anyway, so I'm not losing sleep over the loss of a potential Goofy counter. Despite everything against him, Sora still feels likely as a Smash DLC character. Also, I want him in so kids could try to comprehend Kingdom Hearts if they feel interested in trying out the series. Whoa! When Sonic was added into Super Smash Bros. Brawl, it was a moment that people had been dreaming of for years. There was finally a game that could have Mario and Sonic, the 2 old school rivals in the video game industry, duke it out to prove who's better. However, if you know your video game history, then you would know that eventually a 3rd platforming mascot would join the rivalry to represent PlayStation's side in the form of Crash Bandicoot. Crash's history is very interesting to me because if you asked me 5 years ago if Crash had a chance to be in Smash, I would tell you no way. However, with the resurgence of Crash Bandicoot through the recent releases of the Insane Trilogy and CTR Nitro Fueled, I think now is as good a time as any for the orange marsupial from Sonic's ass game to be included. Coming up with a moveset shouldn't be too difficult either because Crash has had several games that moves could be derived from, even if you have to borrow stuff from the bad games. So yeah, I see no reason as to why Crash shouldn't be included in Ultimate. Sorry, Spyro. Okay, so I originally wrote the script towards the end of December, and I used this section to talk about the possibility of Byleth joining Smash, and that happened. So the only other first-party Nintendo character I could see would probably be a Gen 8 Pokémon. Rillaboom seems the most likely out of the new additions, considering he's a Grass Final Evolution starter, which would go well with our already present Fire and Water Final Evolutions. And his moveset could be unique despite being a gorilla like Donkey Kong. It helps too that Gen 8 has been selling well despite many controversies against it, and with the fact that Nintendo decided the new DLC characters like with the Last Pass. The one thing that makes me think a Gen 8 rep won't happen is because of the presence of Sword and Shield spirits already in the game. So hear me out for a second. When 3 Houses came out, there were no spirits added to coincide with the release of the game, but Gen A didn't get a similar treatment. Now to be fair, Final Evolution starter spirits weren't added, so Rillaboom could still happen. Despite my tinfoil hat theory, I still feel like a new Pokémon being added to the game is likely to happen. I just hope it's Snom.
Moe.
Hero's Edition of Smash felt like a nice combination of fan demand, at least from the Japanese audience anyway, and marketing with the future release of Dragon Quest XI on Switch. So with that being said, and with Nintendo being very silent with their 2020 plans, I suspect Nintendo would want Travis Touchdown from No More Heroes to be added to Smash. I feel like people don't talk about how likely Travis is to make it in the Smash Bros. No More Heroes has primarily been a Nintendo exclusive series, disregarding some less than stellar ports of the first game on other platforms. The series is still getting new releases on the Switch, and Suda51, the creator of No More Heroes, has stated in the past that he would love to see Travis in Smash. He could have a unique moveset among other swordsmen already present in his games thanks to his beam katana and his overall unique nature present in his games. Also, toning down some of the more mature elements of his character wouldn't be too difficult to do, considering Bayonetta comes from a similar type of game. Travis would make a fun inclusion to the roster and would definitely stand out among other swordsmen in the game, so I don't see why he shouldn't join. For the next likely pick for Smash DLC, I think it's time to talk about Gino. Poor Gino fans have definitely had it rough. They've been wanting this character for years despite Gino only being in one game. They got a Mii costume in Smash 4 and eventually ended up with only a lone JPEG in this game. However, I believe that it's finally time for Gino to get the love he deserves. Sakurai has wanted to include Gino since Brawl, and the love for this character is high enough to warrant a playable slot on the roster. The only issue would probably be that he's technically a third-party character, and that Gino is basically irrelevant in modern gaming culture, disregarding his following in Smash. But after Banjo was included, I truly believe that Gino will make it into this game. Hell, Terry made it in just because Sakurai loves SNK so much, so I don't really see a reason as to why Gino won't make it. Sakurai loves this character, the fans love this character, and Gino would be the cherry on top to this already great character roster. These characters seem to be the most likely candidates for future DLC picks, but that doesn't mean I can't be egocentric and hope for the characters I really want in this game. So really quick, let me list off the characters I want, starting with Crash. I have no regrets. Honestly, after Joker and Terry were included, I'm pretty content with the roster we have. I personally just want Crash because I grew up on this franchise and believe that he's worthy of being included, among the other reasons I listed earlier. So yeah, Crash is currently my most wanted DLC character.
Rising Falcon!
Next up would be Lloyd Irving from Tales of Symphonia. Yeah, I really have no rights. So get this, he's an anime swordsman from a franchise that isn't super popular in the West. Throw those two factors into a pot and you have a recipe that ends with large amounts of backlash and hate that might actually rival Byleth. He really only has Namco's involvement with Ultimate backing him up, and also with this game being GameCube exclusive at release. But even then, he still has to go against the possibility of a Tekken character making it in, so he basically has no chances of making it. I'm still holding out hope though, and if Smash Flash 2 is anything to go by, then Lloyd Irving would be insanely fun to play as.
Every puzzle has an answer.
The next character I want is sort of an unorthodox choice considering he's from a puzzle game, but I think Professor Layton would be a fun character to have in Ultimate. It would be stupid difficult designing a moveset for him, but there are plenty of characters in Smash already that have had liberties taken to make them more functional, so it's definitely possible. Professor Layton would be a fun pick because I feel like his moveset could be very wacky, but still unique among other fighters on the roster, and the Professor Layton games have always been popular since the series' inception on the DS. He is technically owned by Level 5 Games, but that shouldn't be a huge problem considering new Layton games are still being made on the Switch. So, I've recently been playing Rayman Legends, and I've got to say that I would really enjoy seeing Rayman become a character in Smash Ultimate. The main problem against him is that he's already a spirit in the game, much like Gino, but he could still be a really fun character because he's got no freaking limbs! How would they make an amiibo for him? Anyway, I don't really have much else to say for Rayman, I just think he's neat.
is this?
So hey, Dante would be pretty cool. Dante from the Devil May Cry series has been a character that has slowly but surely increased in fan popularity and hype for being a potential Smash Bros. Newcomer. He has huge moveset potential from all of his games and would definitely stand out with his fun demeanor and personality. The only real issues I could see working against Dante's inclusion would be the amount of Capcom characters already in the game, the potentially low options for a stage pick, and his Devil Trigger and moveset potentially being as good as Smash 4 Bayo considering the genre he comes from. But with all that aside, Dante would be a crazy fun character and is still heavily requested, so I'd say he's probably the most likely character in my personal picks next to Crash. From the last pick I'd personally like to see, I thought 2B from NieR Automata could be fun. We only have half of a female DLC character in this game already, and 2B is extremely popular in the industry for reasons. She reminds me of Bayonetta in some ways, and I feel like the only thing holding her back would be something to do with Platinum or Square, or the fact that NieR isn't on the Switch yet. The main downside against 2B's inclusion would be her design potentially raising the age rating. Hopefully Nintendo could work around these issues, as 2B would be a very celebrated character among many, and would definitely make people feel something towards her.
Also, she's got a great butt.
All of these characters would be very fun to have in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, but very quickly let's lightning around through other potential Smash Bros. Characters, just so I can refer back to this video if the following characters do indeed make it into the game. I'll also be implementing custom rating systems for all of these characters based on how likely I see their chances of making it NR. And let's go. Phoenix Wright, a very popular Capcom pick, and the only reason I think he wouldn't make it in over Dante is because it is harder to design a moveset for him that isn't one-to-one with Ultimate Marvel 3. I give him 4 Marvel vs. Capcom 3s out of 5. Rex and Pyrus / Mythra. Sakurai has expressed interest in adding these characters to the roster, but due to time constraints he had to settle on a Mii costume and Spears instead. Now with more DLC coming, it's reasonable to believe that they're shoo-ins now, but I could honestly see Sakurai settling on just the Mii costumes in favor of newer characters, considering Xenoblade 2 isn't really talked about much nowadays. I wouldn't completely throw out their chances though, so I'll give them 3 Rex Miis out of 5. Waluigi, and why not? His fan demand is still extremely high, and the devs could probably add a toggle to his assist trophy to where there aren't 2 Waluigis on the stage at one time, even though you can technically have 3 Chroms on stage at one time, so what the hell, Sakurai? 3 Broken Dreams out of 5. Shantae and Bandana D, popular characters that suffered the same spirit status that Gino ended up with. If Gino gets promoted to full character status, then I don't see any reason as why these two wouldn't be promoted as well. 3 JPEG files out of 5. Ryu Hayabusa / a Contra rep. These characters would round out the legacy characters from the NES, and both have had their ups and downs throughout the ages. If both call back to their original designs in meaningful ways, then they could definitely be cool additions to see and contribute more to Ultimate's ultimateness. 3 Exiles into a NES cartridge out of 5. Reimu from Toho will never be in Smash. Paper Mario may be considered killed in action just like Chibi Robo, but the sub-series is still popular and Paper Mario would add something that other Mario characters don't have in Smash already. The only issue I see is that Paper Mario is probably dead for the time being unless Color Splash comes to Switch, so 2 Color Splash copies out of 5. Heihachi / Scorpion, 2 potential fighting game characters from franchises that are very iconic to the genre. Heihachi feels more likely than Scorpion due to him not decapitating people in his game, but both have pros and cons towards their potential inclusion in Smash. Also, as much as I love Terry, adding a character from Tekken or Mortal Kombat seems much more appropriate for a fighting game rep by today's standards than an SNK character. 3 YouTube demonetization symbols out of 5. And finally, Tracer from Overwatch. Now, if you asked me several months ago if an Overwatch character would make it into Smash, I would say probably. But then Blizzard opened their big mouths, released a terrible port of Overwatch on Switch, and generally had a lukewarm reaction to the sequel to Overwatch. So now I think the chances of an Overwatch character are dead in the water, and I honestly hope it doesn't happen. And to wrap everything up, I think Hat Kid getting a Mii Sword Fighter costume with the sword being her umbrella would be really cool. Will any or all of these characters make it into the game? Probably not, but it's fun to speculate and see how our predictions get blown out of the water or maybe even become true. No matter what character makes it into Smash, whether they're new or old, I'll still have fun with them and be content with how amazing this game is already. Smash Ultimate has had great DLC so far, and I can't wait to see who will join the roster in the future. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to preemptively write death threats to myself to toughen my skin so I'll feel nothing when others call me out for saying my predictions are wrong.